And so I guess everyone's been enjoying it, and I knew they would because there's no exhibit hall they can actually go to in real life. Our first exhibitor is an old timer, not an old timer, and an old timer like myself, but old timer at the NEWLIFE EXPO. We had first met eons and ions ago at the Shivananda Yoga Center in Valmarin. And Roland is from Toronto. And he has a company called BioAge and Beyond Perfect. And it's a nutritional algae product, which he really feels is one of the best ways for anti-aging. It considered its total absorption and assimilation combined with synergistic effects. Its utilization is 100%, which is why it's different than most algaes. It's a dense, complete, transformative food. You can try to create a blend with all sorts of food, but it would never meet the completeness of nutrients found in their formulas. Perfect assimilation, absorption, and utilization levels. And here is founder and my friend Roland Thomas to tell you more about it. Welcome, Roland.
Thank you very much, Mark. You've done some homework. First, I want to thank you for putting on this opportunity, especially the new format, which is free. But also, I want to thank the participants for getting up on Sunday, especially the New Yorkers. They tend to have a good life, you know. It is a time of extraordinary sadness or fear or confusion. Yet we need to keep the joy in our heart. Sadness is okay, joy is okay. Both have to live side by side. Let's not forget. And so I am here to offer some hope, some aids that I have benefited from over 20 years. It is something that has really resurrected me or helped me resurrect myself. I want to empower you. I don't want to tell you that the product that I'm going to be talking about is going to be the agent of change. It truly will be your body, as it has been. That I'm going to be talking about is going to be some echo. Agent of change. Truly, I'm hearing myself now.
I know, that was the Facebook. I wanted to see, make sure it was working.
Are you gonna wait a moment?
No, you're fine.
Okay. Usually when I go to conferences, I always do talks. I never want to just be at a booth and show my products. Can you see these? Yeah. Or just spend like 5 minutes with someone there that's asking questions, going from booth to booth. It would be time wasted. We have half an hour, which is rare that you spend a half an hour with one person at a booth, because I have a lot. Our product is infinitely more sophisticated and complex, yet most simple of all, really, because it's a food. So we're really going to be talking about what is food, ultimately. So I think in this half-hour format, I'll have time to convey the message, the information enough that you will be curious and that you will want to try it. And I will facilitate that for you. First thing I'm going to show, and I may show it again at the end, not knowing if you'll come back, but I want to show some contact information, because there's a lot more to learn than just me talking for half an hour. There's a book called Awakening the Genius Within, which you can get online or download. If you have any issues, send us an email, info@bioage.com. There is also the website, bioage.com. And also, if you want to participate in somewhat more informative seminars or webinars with me, there's a link there to bioage.com/I-want-to-know. Anyway, I hope this picture can remain next time you vision the webinar. So yeah, I'm going to focus and talk about product. Usually I tell my story. And my story, I'm going to tell you in a nutshell, but on my website at bioage.com, I share as to how I came about to meet a scientist, a Russian scientist, that dedicated his life to developing this formula behind the Iron Curtain at the time. It was a very secret project, and it yielded results, extraordinary results, which are documented, well documented in the book that I shared with you, awakeningthegeniuswithin.com, as well as there is some information in the science section on the website, and all kinds of information is available. I want to show you me 20 years ago. I was a rather heavy guy. I had gone up to close to 200 pounds. I'm now 155, 160. And I was plagued with several conditions. And as a result of visiting my physician at the time, he thought that I was plagued with a term of syndrome X, which is a combination of blood pressure, obesity, blood sugar issue, cholesterol issue. And he said that I was a candidate for early heart attack. My dad had many issues by the time he was 50, 60. And at the time I was 50, and so he scared me real good. I had already begun to look for a solution to repair or to stop my decline in my health. I had been a yoga or a yogi of sort since early on, so I wanted to be healthy. I had been somewhat of a vegetarian, a granola type person, yet I was a scientist as I studied science at university. So I was caught between the modern medical model of getting a new heart, automatically, and pills to fix everything, and versus what my mother believed, that we shouldn't take any supplements or any medication. I was sitting on the fence, if you wish. So I had begun to adopt supplements back in 1980. The first one was vitamin E. I'm showing you all those that I was taking 20 years ago. If you look closely, you'll see a label on every bottle. These were my homework. On Sunday, I would go to Vitamin Cottage. Whole food didn't exist at the time, early on in the 80s and 90s, and pick my supplements, which had come from advice from various physicians or naturopath, or reading. At the time, you could read an article and say, oh my God, I got to take this supplements because I got to take it. The article said I should take it. And I remember in the 90s and even early 2000, there was no such thing as Google. Yahoo had come about, but there was not a lot of information. So you can do your own research. You would rely on articles or recommendations. And I'm a researcher. I do not trust to give my health, my body, to a mechanic. I'll do it with my car, but I've always been curious about my own health and my own longevity, if you wish. So anyway, 20 years ago, I came across somehow through destiny, a scientist that introduced me to a blend of microalgae that overnight turned my life, began to help my body, because the credit is to my body. But the efficiency, the nutritional efficiency of these formula is such that, as per the title of the book that I wrote, I was so passionate. I wrote a book about his story, about the product, his research, called awakeningthegeniuswithin.com. And so if you read this book, you'll understand what I mean by the product aided or helped my body to begin to recover, to regenerate, to renew, to repair my endocrine system, my immunity, my sexual life, by the way, and began to lose weight. I lost pretty much obesity status within the first month. I became a marathon runner. I became supercharged, super healthy, super energetic. I, of course, took on promoting his formula across the United States, which is how we met. He wanted someone to help him. At the time, I was in Denver, Colorado, and I was ready to retire. I was tired, I was fatigued, I was afraid, I was worried, and I had come out of some business ventures. And I was going to go back to live in Canada and just work at Walmart or something. But I tell you, overnight, he had given me at the time a small bottle of these Biosuperfood and shared his story with me, because he was looking for investors, and I was very curious and I was very skeptical, as I had heard many good stories of doctors and products. And so being skeptical that I was, I said, okay, I'm going to try it. And remember, at the time I was taking 23, 25 different other supplements. Anyhow, I tried it. So I took a couple of capsules. Oops, I'll show you how big they are that day, that first day. I'm going to try to show you the size of the capsule. It's a tiny little capsule, and if we could have it 1/3 this size, it would be even better. But we can't fill the capsule smaller than that. It's a very efficient food. It's a food, 100% food. We'll talk about it a little bit. But I'll show you a cutout that I did of the same capsule for your benefit. But what I want to show you is, if you can please take a look at the colors that you'll see. These colors represent 4 different algae blended together, 4 different algae for achieving that the whole is greater than the sum of its part. The synergy between these 4 algae is unmatchable with any salad, any food that you could gather around the world for the next month and put into one serving. You would never come close to matching the 15 or more than 15,000 nutrients found in such a small capsule. As a matter of fact, you will find 15,000 nutrients. Try to wrap your head around this. Around in 4 microscopic grain. So in other words, 1 grain, 1 cell, because it's cellular food, of each of the 4 algae. So 4 microscopic grain compose 15,000 molecules. Or let's call them compounds, because some of them are not even known yet, that are found in the elements of our planet. These microalgae are grown using volcanic thermal springs, not volcanic regions like Lake Clamette or Hawaii volcanic area, but using thermal spring that stem from a couple thousand feet below the Earth's surface. And so hence these blends of algae contain over all known trace elements, minerals you're familiar with. Usually you're lucky if you will find.
So it's all on, and then he just probably will select me when it's time.
Have someone else here talking and showing.
It's kind of handy because I can see where I am on the screen now. So,
Mark,
you know,
I'm a little confused.
I think I'll sit down. It's a lot less in your face just taking a seat. You know?
Mark?
Well, yeah, but it's.
Mark?
No, we're fine. I took them off.
Yeah.
I was another exhibitor trying to get on.
Encounter of the 5th kind. All right. So I'm going to try to wrap it up so we can leave room for a few questions. I think the questions yield some great response. So as I was saying, over 15,000 compound nutrients within 4 grains found in this small capsule. So imagine the number of grains in this capsule is in the million. Do the math, million times 15,000. So you have here an offering.
That's a lot. I just did the math.
It's actually more like infinite, because on the microscopic level, it never ends, if you truly understand what infinity is. Anyway, so when you ingest such a small capsule, just envision that it breaks down into your bloodstream. It goes through the liver, of course, and then it's released in your bloodstream, which is thousands of miles of arteries that fuel cells, trillions of cells within your body. That is what food does, all food. But this one, imagine that small quantity of food, one capsule, is enough to impact the brain of a human or of any species. And subsequently, what is observed is a shift, an energetic shift within sometimes minutes, certainly hours of consuming one such capsule. I had an epiphany the first night myself, but I want to give you an example. If you give it to a horse that is lame and fatigued, a former racehorse that is tired and unsocial, literally within some time, the same hour, that horse may become friendlier, more social, and come see you at the fence. Similarly with angry Chihuahua or etc. So the effect on the brain in terms of stimulating the various hormones, which cascades down into all hormones, which including all organs. What we're talking about here is not the food that does such. It's that food feeds particularly the very important organ of the brain called the hypothalamus. Look it up. It is the organ responsible, it's a pea size, responsible for homeostasis within our body, which is temperature, sexual activity, strength, muscular activity, digestive activity, all activity of the human body, including down to the cells of the big toe. I'm a marathon runner. I used to get what do you call those? Inflammation in my toes and get bleedy inflammation, etc. before consuming these algae. Now I can run 4 or 5 hours and I don't get any pain in my toes. I don't get any issues. I don't get any inflammation related issues. So we have three formulas, by the way. Formula 1, Formula 2, green bottle. Formula 3, more the red. They comprise the same 4 algae, but the difference between the formulas is that the original formula used in research was the equivalent of Formula 1. Formula 2 and 3 were developed as a result of working after the Chernobyl nuclear explosion, when the scientist, Dr. Michael Kiriak, realized that humans are less reactive or responsive than animals. The research had been conducted with over 20 animal species, mostly mammals, and comprising millions of animals in large field trials. And the book that I wrote documents that. So hence, gradually evolved the formula to be more efficient for human, to be more therapeutic, if we can call it this way. And all the way to the most efficient one in cases of chronic needs, when chronic fatigue or conditions that have been latent in our body, as well as, for example, cancer. So I want to tell you that what we're talking about with this food is allowing your body's vitality to increase, to awaken. We're not talking about medicine, we're talking about energy. If you can increase energy, if you can increase brain health, first of all, or brain energy, then the rest of the body is a no-brainer. I like that expression. And so hence, the hypothalamus is the equivalent, another analogy that is a visualization, to a conductor of an immense or large philharmonic orchestra that some of you may have had the chance to attend, where there's hundreds of musicians and a conductor. If that conductor becomes sluggish, fatigued, lazy, through life, through aging, through shock, through malnutrition, through toxicity, through radiation, through viral attack, bacterial attack, name it. Then imagine if the conductor is nodding, sleeping at the podium, fatigued himself. the symphony is not going to be so nice. The concept of consuming Biosuperfood is one of awakening the genius within. As I said before, this is like a bullet of nutrition. I want you to think of it not so much as the typical supplements that you take, like I used to take 25 different bottles, and that's 20 years ago. I stopped 20 years ago. And imagine if I had continued with all the new supplements that have come on the market, right? I'd be taking 50 or maybe more. And for the last 20 years, maybe you can see this, I've been taking a few capsules per day, period. Nothing else other than a good basic fundamental diet, which I'd be happy to talk about. I do talk about other stuff for good health in my conferences, in my private webinars, in the bioage.com/I-want-to-know. If you sign up there, you'll be invited. We have about 10 minutes left. I think I will leave it at that because I could speak myself blue in the face, yet there's so much that I just shared with you of differences between a typical vitamin C product or magnesium or probiotic, etc.
Well, you could speak yourself blue-green.
Blue-green, oh, I like that.
Let me ask, I have a question. So now with the algae, so I know the closest composition to our blood is chlorophyll. I know algae have a high form of chlorophyll in it. Now, do the products you have, I mean, what algae? Do they have spirulina or chlorella or blue-green algae, or what are the algae?
That's a great question, Mike. We have 4 algae. 2 of them are spirulina. Amongst a couple of hundred on Earth, by the way, or strain, different families of blue-green algae. Spirulina are a blue-green algae. The first ever cellular life on Earth was cyanobacteria, cyano for blue, hence the blue-green algae families. There are many. The chlorella is a wonderful nutritional. We know about the cellular wall, which is very difficult to get through for humans because we don't have the cellulose enzyme to break it. So it is broken. They say it's a broken cell wall. Yet it remains that the cellulose of that cell remains in the food that you consume. So it is a burden. It's pollution for humans. It was researched in the Russian research for the first 2 years. Chlorella was one of the principal algae. It was rejected once it was observed that human or certain mammals didn't do well with it. While the spirulinas, the fundamental of the blend, fitted any species in terms of pure total absorption, hence the 100% absorption. We're really talking about 1000% absorption.
I know you're a scientist, so before we get technical, there's a lot of questions. But if they have, besides here, if they have any other questions, they can reach you at where?
At certainly info@bioage.com.
info@bioage.com.
Yeah.
And so I have a question. So do people need Formula 1, Formula 2, and Formula 3?
Good question. The Formula 1 is suited for, we call it the gentle formula, for infants all the way as young as soon as a child can consume hard food, even can be mixed in the formula, if that's the case, as well as aged adult or sensitive condition, pregnancy, for example, early pregnancy. We don't want to create a revolution in the body. This can do it if you start too quickly. We want an evolution. Formula 2 is for anyone, young and old, any conditions. It's quite therapeutic if there's already engaged blood sugar issues or tumors and so forth, small to micro tumors, etc. It is well known to be anti-tumorogenesis, prevents the growth of, or it quenches, or the body quenches tumors all the time. Every day we quench tumors. And the Formula 3 is more suited for athletes, for high performance, for yogi, for, we work with chronic conditions such as cancer, diabetes, chronic fatigue, name it, inflammation, athletes, and so forth. And all formula achieve the same purpose, by the way, but it's a degree of intensity or efficiency that was discovered after Chernobyl when the scientists started to work with humans and realized that some human, based on their already engaged preconditions, if you wish.
So I have Catherine, I'm only going to keep cutting you off. So
Yeah. I love it.
So Catherine Patton's asking, she says, you look perfectly healthy and shiny. Thanks for the products and info. I'm ready to order. So now a few things. Are there any discounts for the people watching right now? And how much are each of the formulas and how can they order that?
Oh my. Well, I'm going to create a discount right away because I didn't have time to think in my busy quarantine life. I will call it NEWLIFE. So note that down. NEWLIFE will be the discount coupon. It will be on later this afternoon, NEWLIFE. The prices are should be 10 times more, but they vary between $25 and $125.
How long did they last for each bottle?
For example, this incredible bottle here of 180 capsules. Some people take one capsule a day. That's 180 days. That's $125. Some people take.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Some people take 3 a day. Some people take 6. I take 12. Why? Because I'm on my feet from 4 a.m. sometimes till 11 o'clock in New York at the NEWLIFE EXPO after traveling from Toronto to New York. And you know how busy we are, Mark.
So for most people, it's months and months and just one bottle.
I would say an average would be 2 months.
Yeah.
If you have, if you're an athlete, if you're a high performer, if you're dealing with chronic fatigue or surviving cancer or going through cancer treatment, this product will lift you up. It will not, but your body will awaken because of consuming this brain food. So visit bioage.com. You'll see pricing. You'll see much more lovely details about the quality, about the fact that they're Health Canada certified. We have PET formula, by the way. We have the same somewhat level and degree of performance. We are veterinary certified in Canada as of recently, the first algae blend ever certified in Canada by Health Canada. Similarly, we were the first algae product certified by Health Canada, certified for quality, for nutrient content, for safety, et cetera, for quality of the facility. You will not find that, or you will rarely find such level of protection, of security.
And it only takes a couple of hours before you start feeling it. What should one expect to feel?
Mark, some psychics sometimes take a bottle and they go, oh my God. So there's energy in here. There's vibration, there's frequency. Yeah. That's what we're talking about. So yes, sometimes hours, sometimes the next morning, sometimes people have dreams and they come to see us the next morning. As you know, at the Expo, Mark, I give samples. Give people a couple capsules. They come back sometimes 2 hours later, all pink in the face, smiling, from depressed to smiling. What is in this product? And they come back the next morning for more. I call them.
And they're running marathons during the Expo.
I invite them for a brain fest the next morning.
I love it. So that if you go to info@bioage.com,